The night Marta knelt. In the next 10 minutes, you will see how stepping back can move you farther ahead than any punch you could throw. Author Daniel Hayes, story coach. Think of the strongest person you know, maybe a parent, a teacher, or a boss who always seemed invincible. Now picture that same giant later standing alone, while the one who once knelt quietly walks past them with quiet strength. That contrast is what this story is about. Marta Ortega ran the only print shop left on the east side of the river. She fixed old mimeograph machines the way a jeweler resets stones, slow and precise. One May morning, a glossy black SUV parked in front of her shop, and out stepped Victor Crane. He wore a suit the color of wet asphalt and carried a folder thick enough to bruise. Victor smiled the way a shark mouths water. He said, "Morning, Ms. Ortega, I'm buying your block. Sign today, you get a 20% bonus. Fight me, I bury you in legal mud." He slid the contract across her counter like it weighed 100 pounds. Marta felt her heartbeat in her throat. She had bills stacked like bricks, suppliers breathing down her neck, and only 2 employees she loved like family. She glanced at the contract, then at Victor's polished grin. She thought about her father who once told her, "When the bull is bigger, take off the red cape and stand behind the fence till it charges at nothing." So she pressed her palms on the counter and said, "You win, Mr. Crane. I'll vacate in 90 days. Victor looked surprised, almost annoyed. He had expected a fight, the kind that lets a giant flex muscle. Instead, she gave him a calm nod and slid the signed paper back. That night, Marta locked the shop, walked home along the river, and knelt on her living room rug. She felt defeated, but she also felt something else, time stretching in front of her like a secret hallway. She whispered, "This is surrender, not the end." Victor paraded around town, calling himself the conqueror of East River Row. He demolished the old bakery next door, set up flashy billboards, threw parties the city newspapers loved. Every headline said Victor was unstoppable. People expected Marta to quit, maybe leave town. Instead, she rented a tiny garage across the water where rent was almost free. She worked nights fixing printers for other small businesses who could not afford new ones. Word spread about the woman who could revive dead machines. She saved every dollar. While Victor's empire rose, cracks formed behind the glamour. Investors wanted faster returns. The new chain bakery flopped because locals missed the old owner's cinnamon rolls. A cracked pipe flooded the basement of Victor's flagship store. Legal fees stacked up like bricks in a rainstorm. People noticed he smiled less. Marta kept her head low. In the quiet hours, she studied bookkeeping online, talked quietly with former suppliers Victor treated like dirt, and listened more than she spoke. Each small act was a pebble dropped in a pond, sending ripples she could feel but not yet see. 1 year after the eviction notice, Marta opened a new shop, half the size, twice as clean. She invited her old workers back with a small stake in the profits. Customers returned out of loyalty, then out of admiration. She fixed machines faster than Victor's expensive service team could replace them. When people asked how she endured, she said, "I walked backwards into a wider field." Victor noticed the shift late. He tried price cuts, loud ads, even intimidation calls. But by then the city viewed him as yesterday's headline. A big audit hit his accounts, investors pulled out, and the giant that once looked invincible began to wobble. Marta did nothing dramatic. She simply kept her doors open, her prices fair, her promises kept. The river that once divided her from the main street now carried customers back and forth. A quiet evening 3 years after the surrender, Marta took coffee to the riverbank. She watched Victor's bright sign flicker, then go dark. She felt no victory drum, only calm. She understood then that surrender had not been weakness. It had been a long exhale that saved her breath for the miles ahead. Word spread until business students quoted her story in cafes. The woman who knelt and stood taller than the giant. Marta never wrote a book or gave grand speeches. She simply told any worried shop owner, sometimes the smartest move is stepping out of the way so the storm can break itself against the mountain. She kept a small postcard taped above her workbench. It read, "Honor feeds pride, patience feeds futures." Visitors thought it was a decoration. She knew it was a map. Summary: Marta's story shows us Law 22 in action. By surrendering the battle she could not win, she kept the strength to build a life Victor could not take. The lesson is simple. When an opponent is stronger today, step back, protect your energy, and let time tilt the tables. Surrender is not giving up the game. It is choosing which round you want to fight.